it's going to be hard not to be the device of the year. What's up, everybody? This is Scott. Welcome back to another video. In today's video, I'm going to give you my top 3 reasons. Well, I'm going to give you a ton more reasons than just 3, but 3 big categories of reasons why I think the Pixel 6 will actually be wildly successful this year. And if Google does these things, it's going to be hard not to be the device of the year. I'm going to talk about it in these 3 big categories, and I have notes on my screen right here because I had to kind of compile my thoughts all together in one. Rather than reading off a script, I'm coming off straight off the dome, but I wanted to categorize these thoughts so we can go ahead and get started. One of the biggest things that if Google does this, it is bar none, hands down, going to win the market because of the way things have been in the market recently. That is with relation to the pricing. If Google were to get these things priced accordingly, and more on that in a second, and offer really good trade-in values for not only other potential Pixels, but also other Android phones from like LG, OnePlus, or Samsung, as well as some Apple devices on trade-in. If you give really good trade-in values, I think Google can go a long way to winning a pretty good market share away from some of these other Android devices. There was recently a leak that came out with prices in euros. Now, the Pixel 6 is said to come in around 649 euros, or approximately $752, if that is a direct one-to-one comparison between the US dollar. Now, I don't actually believe that's going to be the case, but for a Pixel 6 to come in roughly $50 more, because it was $699 for a Pixel 5 in the US last year, if they were to come in, say, that $750 mark or even hit that $699 mark again, arguably, even if they went to $799 for a Pixel 6, given the hardware upgrade that the Pixel 6 has had over the Pixel 5 for sure, that $100 price tag wouldn't be that big of a deal. But if it's a direct one-to-one from euro to the US dollar, we're talking about a $50 difference in terms of the price point. And yeah, that's a pretty darn good value. That's before any trade-ins at all. Now, for the Pixel 6 Pro, they said it was going to be 899 euro, which puts it in about that 1,042, 1,043 $3 range, depending on how you round up or down, which means, again, I think you're going to come in a little bit less than that. If you could get a Pixel 6 Pro priced at $999, or even if you did it at $1,050, it puts it right in line with the iPhone Pro and the iPhone Pro Max in terms of price comparison. Couple that with a good trade-in program, Google will be well on its way to a slam dunk successful launch of the Pixel 6 and the Pixel 6 Pro line. Another thing Google has to do is guarantee or have guarantees related to the performance, both from a horsepower perspective, a battery life perspective, and a camera perspective. So in terms of the horsepower perspective, we have to see that Tensor chip actually come in with performance values somewhere in the 800 plus from a Snapdragon perspective, so like an 875 all the way to the 888 without all the heat problems that the Snapdragon 888 has. Now, while most people don't care so much about the benchmarks or anything like that, some of the things you're seeing out in the news right now talks about how wildly meh or kind of just a little bit disappointing this Tensor chip has been out there. Now, might I add, these are pre-production software leaks that you see out there right now running on Geekbench, which is, I mean, honestly, it is what it is, but I wouldn't put a whole lot of stock into that because, again, pre-production software, I think you're going to see something come in a little bit quicker than what you're seeing on Geekbench scores, but that's not even what the most people really care about. The wide masses don't actually really give a rat's behind as it relates to Geekbench scores. It's really about the real world functionality. And real world functionality is this: if it has smooth performance, has the ability to multitask, and gives me really good battery life, at least as good a battery life of the iPhone 13 Pro and the Pro Max, then you have a winner of a phone on your hands for the Android. Couple that with the return of the XL from a performance perspective, you have a big phone with a big battery. The Pixel 6 Pro is allegedly supposed to have somewhere in the vicinity of a 5,000 milliamp hour battery. So if I get great performance, great battery life in a big phone footprint, which everybody seems to be clamoring for. Rest in peace, Samsung Note line, of course. Big phones seem to have a desire for it. Couple all that performance together with 5 years of software updates, and then you are definitely onto something that Google would absolutely have a winner and be wildly successful with. Again, going back to the pricing, trade-ins, the performance, with the whole package of all of that, And we haven't even talked about the piece de resistance, which is the cameras. To be wildly successful, your cameras have to stand out from the entire crowd. You know that Android has historically been very meh or very average when it comes to video production. But with the Pixel 6 and the Pixel 6 Pro, if they can upgrade to 4K on the selfie, 4K 60 on the back that doesn't overheat or anything like that, and still make it a stunner when it comes to the point and shoot from a photography perspective, then that means to me the Pixel 6 has taken the steps and really gone from the average video production all the way to the exceptional video production, putting it right in line at the top of the house when it comes to Androids, in direct competition as it relates to Apple's iPhone video production. Now, do I think the Pixel 6 and the Pixel 6 Pro is going to surpass everything that we've seen with the iPhone 13 when it comes to video production? I do believe we're going to see the gap close pretty expansively to go from this to probably somewhere like this, which I'm totally fine for, which gives, again, the ability to go to the Pixel 7 and the Pixel 8 to truly catch up and perhaps catch the Apple iPhone in terms of video production. I still believe that the Pixels will be wildly successful in terms of the regular old point and shoot. They are still going to probably be the portrait king and everything like that in between. But if you can start to close the gap on the video stuff with Apple and definitely with Samsung, you are going to have a wildly successful camera system on your hands too. Now, this last particular section is a bonus section, and it's the desire from other Android fans to have something that's not Samsung. Full disclosure, I don't believe if you're a diehard Apple user, you are really going to be looking to switch more to this other than just kind of a gimmicky try or a 0 to 30-day try before you buy. If you're diehard Apple, you're going to stay Apple. It just is what it is. The goal shouldn't be to try to swipe those diehard Apple users. The goal should be to get some of those other Android users to switch to Pixel, because Android has a lot more users as it relates to just overall smartphone sales versus just Apple from a worldwide perspective. OnePlus is kind of flailing about as it relates to the parent company Oppo, LG is dead, and Samsung, even earlier this year, had a 22% decrease in sales as it relates to the smartphones. So now the time is ripe for Google to go in, swoop in, get some of the market share back from some of those other players. Right now, BlackBerry's completely dead. We don't know what they're doing. LG's completely dead. Samsung is down, but definitely not out. They're the worldwide leader for a reason. Huawei, Xiaomi, Oppo, OnePlus are all kind of, again, flailing about when it comes to trying to get market share in the United States. Now is the time for Google to swoop in and do these particular things. People are ready to experience the smooth vanilla-ness that is the Pixels. They want something that, quote unquote, just works. And that is one of the biggest taglines that Apple has had for a really, really long time. So I guess what I'm saying is Google should be pinning the Pixel as the just works Android phone. I guess that would be copying Apple in a way, since Apple typically copies everybody else, but Google should take a page out of Apple's book and make an Android ecosystem that, quote unquote, just works, because then it's a lot easier to stay in that ecosystem year after year after year, which has made Apple wildly successful. But those are my thoughts. That's what I think it's going to take, and I think that's going to actually happen this year with the Pixel 6 and the Pixel 6 Pro. Well, that's it. That's all I have. Thanks for watching, and as always, like, share, subscribe, thumbs up, leave a comment below. We'll see you next time.